All right. Welcome back to the How to Relate podcast. Everett Uhl is back.
I'm back, bitches.
This is
I
why I
had
love
to.
having you on.
Who says that?
Is it a Kardashian?
Oh no.
I feel like they probably didn't coin it, but I feel like they took it over. Like they've adopted said things.
Not me quoting a Kardashian in 2026. Get with the times. Get with the times. Oh well.
God, they're always relevant, right?
But I'm very excited to be back. I always love being on your podcast because you're a podcast host that actually listens.
I appreciate that. I always love having you on because it's always fun. So today we are getting to a little something different because you have an upcoming course/event for therapists primarily. But I do think that thinking about data and KPIs and referral resources is really applicable in any domain. So whether because I'm assuming that a lot of people who listen to this are in a career, even in the dating world, because I think a lot of this also translates into how can you track things for your life. Behavior change, great way to also track behavior. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what metrics? Like we all have our metrics,
Don't we
right?
all? Mhm.
You know, we're both pointing to our smartwatches, or mine is specifically intentionally not smart at all, but it's very rudimentary. But we're using metrics all day, every day to like assess ourselves,
Mhm.
assess others, assess our career, right? How much money do you make? That's always a good data point. You know, is this enough or not enough? How many steps did you get in a day? How many grams of protein did you consume today? Right? Like, did you drink enough water? Are you tracking your water? What was your sleep score? I'll always be like, oh, you ruined my sleep score. You did this to me, right? Or I have little things, right? Like I know if I consume alcohol, I will have a horrible sleep score. Or it'll be like below 70, whereas I'm usually around a 90. And then other certain like rituals help me get that, right? And this is a wonderful example of real-time data. So you can like make a choice within your day, right? Oh, I see I only have 1,000 steps. I got that data. I can now go get 10,000 steps so I meet my goal. Or I make the choice like, I'm just going to have a shit day, I guess, right? And not move my body at all. So yes. And I'm leading this, I don't know what to call it. I guess it's like a lunch and learn webinar um, about data and specifically data-driven decision making, because I mean, that's been a term in the corporate world like forever, right? I mean, there's so many SaaS companies at this point that are profitable because of that. I mean, you think of like Cambridge Analytica, right? They were just like a data company, right? I mean, this is the corporate world, but I guess it's finally making its way to small business and or therapists in private practice. And I'm glad because it's been something that's been a part of my life since like 2014. So my Lunch and Learn webinar really was birthed from, and too, so please hop in and talk about your experience with trainings. And I don't know if it's unique to therapy or if it's just like Instagram has created it, but it's just like, I'm a coach now, or like, I'll tell you how to do this, sign up for my course, right? Because there's lots of people on who now have a platform, who have a brand, who can say, I do this, pay me $99, and it's virtual and you never interact with them, whatever. But obviously that has become like huge in the therapy space. And I remember being like, what in the hell? Like, why is it just like pyramid schemes and MLMs? But it's like trauma or something, or like, but it seems like everybody gets a certificate and then does a training and then is a level 1 and a level 2 and a level 3. And you like climb the pyramid by paying this organization more and more money. And is it actually making you more money? Do clients come to you because of that?
Mhm.
training that they've never heard of? No. Are you actually a better clinician because of it?
I because actually, you and I were just having this conversation yesterday because I've been looking into trainings to partake in. And I think about this all the time. And I also loosely joke, and I know that some people might get mad when I say this, that specifically therapy trainings do operate similarly to MLMs in that
Yeah.
you take a level one training and you typically have a person who's leading that training who's also a supervisor and
Yep.
also has other trainees underneath of them. And they say, come train and supervise with me. And then once you train and supervise with me, then you can take level two. Once you take level two, then it's okay. Now that you've taken level two, you still need extra hours of training and supervising. Once you take level three, you can maybe become a supervisor and then it all starts over again. So it's not a dissimilar model in terms of business and how Herbalife works.
Yeah.
It's different credibility, right? We are all clinicians, we're all licensed,
Get master's degrees.
the
Yeah.
master's degrees, there's evidence-based practices. But I do think it's created this kind of thought process that you're never enough as a therapist. And I do think that these kinds of things prey on people who want to help people because
Yeah.
it's very easy to speak to that imposter syndrome of there's always ways to help. There's always innovation. There's always going to be new evidence based practices coming out. Cognitive behavioral therapy will never just be enough. You need to be a somatic based therapist or a EMDR therapist or a trauma based therapist, where you have to have all of these ways in which you work and on one hand, I think that there's an expansion and a more democratic way of learning. And on the other hand, I think it's preying on our souls.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at it, ideally, at its simplest, therapy is an opportunity to know yourself more.
Right.
And that does not mean your therapist has to know 10,000 different ways of helping you do that. That actually just means you, the client, have to be game to do some work. And sure, give feedback. Sorry, this isn't really vibing or that. I don't like that framework. Sure, we can adjust, but ultimately and I think everything is best in its simplest, purest form. And so when we like overcomplicate these things, um, is it actually helpful to the client or is it just another like placebo? And so you're selling it like, ooh, this could really work for you. Um, and then the client kind of buys into it because you have that power because you are in the position of therapist. So yeah. And I told you I did a training recently that was like really $1,000 and 6 days. It was super intense. I was very uncomfortable throughout the training because, um, my program, I have a master's of science, not a master's of arts. And that science means I had to take a statistics class. I had to take a research methodology course. My corporate background was all data science. And so if you can't tell me a number, like, I don't believe you, like I am skeptical. So CBT is a nice modality because it's super researched. Oh, we actually see a reduction in anxiety symptoms. But if you're just telling me this stuff and you can't point to research that shows a reduction in symptomology, or you're pointing to research that's truly from 1979, give me some more up-to-date research so I can buy into this, but I can't buy into it just because it's a maybe positive experience. And so we've already spent, $1,000 for the training, whatever, done. I kind of left being like, I don't think I'll ever actually use that with clients because, you have to believe in in what you're saying. And I don't believe I left this training not believing in it. So I wouldn't be a good salesperson, right? Whereas again, if you're a pyramid scheme, right? Like, oh no, you guys, this is amazing. You would be a really good candidate. And actually part of the training was telling the client that you think they would be really effective for this, right? Or this would be really effective for their problem. Which is just it's so inappropriate.
So, so inappropriate. That
Then of course at the end of the training, we get the like, hi, everyone, please do the externship. It'll be this life-changing experience for you. Um, and it's $6,000. But because you did this course for a 1 week time limit, you can get it for 5,000. We'll knock $1,000 off, but you have to sign up by the end of the week, right? So again, predatory tactics. And then, of course, one person asked, like, "Well, sorry, $5,000 is a price tag. I'm gonna have to talk to my spouse. Would you mind giving us like what's an ROI? How can I pitch this to my spouse for them to say, sure, spend 5 grand on this thing?" And the woman's response was, "This training is unquantifiable. Personal and professional development that you will experience." Right? I mean, it's just like, okay, so is it going to help me get clients or not? And if it's not going to help me
Right.
get clients, why am I going to pay you to do that? And then, of course, like the single mom with 2 kids is asking in the training, is like, "Can I get a payment plan? Like, please, can I do it?" I'm like, this is predatory. This woman does not have disposable income. She has 2 mouths to feed, and she's going to give you $5,000 because her life is bad and she wants her life to be better. And she thinks doing this training is going to make her life better. And it might. I hope it does. Um, but it left a very icky feeling in me.
If it overpromises and underdelivers, which I feel like is what a lot of sales is, that's one thing, right? But then to go a step further and to say pay more for something that we're just saying is priceless or that we're just saying may or may not work for you. And then because the other strategy that a lot of these companies will use is you're the one that has to do the work. So they'll turn
Yeah.
it around and they'll say which is what a lot of if you've heard of like Bikram yoga, like the whole
Mhm,
scandal that happened there, a lot of
mhm.
it was, well, you're the one that needs to do the work. You're the one who's not bought in enough. And so then it's kind of like blaming the victim of
Yes,
being, yeah,
for not believing.
for
Yeah.
not believing, which plays on emotionality. Oh my gosh, it's my fault. It's totally
Yeah.
my fault on why this isn't working.
Yeah.
No, I definitely need more training because it's clearly I need it.
Yeah, and it's like religious trauma too, right? Oh, you're praying hard enough, right?
Right.
If you were just praying more, then God would be blessing you, right? I mean, it's all that same shit, different toilet.
Mhm. Every cult begins with
Yeah.
a
So I'm trying to not have a cult.
yes. Okay.
I'm trying to help protect therapists from that. So I created this training because I was so pissed off because it's like, you don't need to go spend $6,000 on this new modality to offer to clients. What you need to actually do is look at your own business and look at, have you acquired clients? That's the first question. What are they? Are they white? Are they black? Are they female? Are they gay? Are they this? Are they that? Right? Like, whatever. What is working? And look at your own success. Who have you acquired? Why did they come to you? Have they told you that? Like for me, a lot of my clients are actually from other clients referring them. And I'll find out probably like a month or two in, like, "Oh, I saw so and so the other day and we talked about you." And I'm like, "Why are you talking about me with that person?" It's like, "Oh, because she sent me to you." And I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that. Um, so it's really helping. I also think it's kind of like when you think about codependency, like what are you sourcing externally and what can you source internally? And so ideally, it's helping people source internally. I don't need to go outside of myself to do another training or like spend a bunch of money on Google AdWords or like redesign my website or whatever. It's just turning inside and saying what has worked, who has come to me, and then how can I expand upon that and replicate that success and keep doing what you're doing that's working and then test what is not working. Um, so ideally, people walk away from there knowing how to calculate their customer lifetime value and understanding what that means, and then use that information to help them make decisions, right? Oh, if my customer is worth $4,000, am I willing to spend 400 or whatever, right? Or should I not be spending $5,000 on a training because the lifetime value of a customer that I have is only going to be $4,000. So why in the hell would I be spending more than I'm going to make? Anyway, so That's the thought because yeah, I was just very frustrated. And then same thing, I think the messages that we get in graduate school are you should never know, you should never be assessing a client's value. You would change the way that you're treating them or caring for them or whatever. And maybe that was my professors disclosing a little too much about how they were. But like my sliding scale clients are getting the same level, if not higher, care because I know I am what they have, like, we're
Right.
we're texting every now and then, not inappropriately, um, because that m that matters to me, right? So, I think you can still provide a high level of care to any and all client that you have, regardless of whether they are there because of insurance, there because they're paying cash, or there because they're on sliding scale. I don't think that changes how you treat them, but you should know what that client is worth to you and how much money they have paid you. And so I think so much of the messaging that therapists get is truly the opposite of what it is to be a good business owner. And then you're also there's so much morality tied to all of this stuff that you are like a bad therapist because you're assessing someone based on their monetary value, or you are a bad therapist because you're making decisions solely based on did it make me money, yes or no. I'm like, oh my gosh, but there's so much to it, and it's the both and it's and there's so much gray, and it's like, no, that lost me money. I'm no longer going to do that thing. So I think our field is just not really supporting small business owners, frankly.
Right. When I was in undergrad, the social work organization had T-shirts that said, "We're in it for the outcome, not the income." And we bought into that slogan like martyrs. Like we
Yeah.
were like, "Yes, like this is us," you know. And then I was like,
Mm.
"Goodwill is not going to pay your bills." So when you get out of grad school and you're making $36,000 with a
You're in debt.
and you're in debt and you're going, okay, but this is what I needed to get the job that I wanted to,
Mhm.
help save people in the world. And then you're burning
Mhm.
yourself down to the ground. All for what? Because you just pay the same exact amount as someone who's got an MBA and they're making six times more than you.
Mhm.
It is difficult. And
Mhm.
I think that, yeah, the helping heart bleeds heavy, but there's
Yeah.
also a way for a helping heart to also have a sustainable income in life.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
also I think it just shows how much or how little caring fields are valued, right? Teachers,
Right.
nurses, therapists, right? That's woman's work. That's normally a supplementary income, right? Because you couldn't actually live on your own if you didn't have a partner based on the income that is happening, right? And you're just a good person and love and giving and all of that. So we don't need to pay you as much. You shouldn't be negotiating on your salary. You shouldn't value the work that you do. Um, Whereas there's no problem for an attorney to say, yeah, I bill 400 an hour. And if I email you one sentence, that will be a quarter of an hour of of billable
Right.
time, right?
Right.
Because they are taught to value themselves. And now they might also be getting a very clear outcome for you, and that is a very binary outcome. And the
Right.
courts are the one assessing that outcome rather than you as the client assessing the outcome. Um, but I mean, and you and I have talked about this too, right? Of people come to me and are like, oh, you have like a successful practice. Good for you. And I feel like I have to pretend like, oh my God, I know it's so crazy. Like, I have no idea why I have a good practice. That's crazy. And then you have to downplay. Like, no, actually, I think I'm good. Clearly, I am good at what I do. Clearly, clients like me and enjoy working with me. So, yes, that is why I have a successful practice. And sorry, you are maybe struggling, right? And it might not be that because you're a bad therapist. It might just be you suck at selling yourself on your inquiry calls, or,
Yeah.
the intake makes the person feel uncomfortable. I have a very structured intake. So that really helps people who are nervous and I don't know what to say. Like, what are we going to do the first session? They feel like they have to prepare. And I'm like, no, I got you. Here's all the structure. We have a very clear outline. So you don't feel confused or whatever. But I think other times that people might not like that, and they wouldn't come to me, and they might go to someone else. But yeah, I think just the pressure to devalue yourself, devalue your work, um, and then continue to perpetuate the like myth that what we do is not valuable, is very it's very sad. But also, let's be positive. Like lots of changes happened. So much stigma has already been lost in the mental health field. More and more people are getting therapy every day. You know,
Right.
I am. I think it's too much in the pop culture vernacular, but that's okay.
Concur. I am. In the land of influencers. But okay, so what are some key data points that someone can start to look at to make data-driven decisions?
Within their life or within their business.
Let's start within our life because I
Uh,
like to broaden this out and then we can take it into business.
Okay, because I'm like all about this. I think acceptance and commitment therapy is also very much about that. Like at my core, I'm like, what is the information and what choice do you want to make based on this information? So I think you can start when you wake up in the morning. What's our metric, right? Did I sleep well? Do I feel rested? Am I in pain anywhere in my body when I wake up? And did I have any dreams? You know? Sometimes my dreams can really set my set my day. I just had um I was telling Corinne I had like very ominous dreams the other night of like a pack of hyenas coming for us. And then also a big fruit bat in the middle of the day. So clearly they had rabies or something. And I was like, what does this dream mean? It's kind of spooked me for my day, but you can be silly, right? So what could have just in the first 1 minute of waking up, what kind of choice do you want to make? Right. And then most of us probably reach for our phone. My alarm clock is on my phone, right? So what information am I getting from my phone? Am I getting that it's time to wake up and I overslept? Or am I getting that there's a new war happening and I am already like, my day is already over, right? So, what do you wanna do with that information? Do you wanna make a choice to put the phone down? Okay, now I'm gonna go get some coffee, right? Or I slept okay, so I don't need caffeine this morning or whatever, right? Um, then kind of more information or data points, right? Like, how do you feel going to your job, right? Do you dread it? Did you already have the Sunday scaries and you woke up on Monday morning and now you're like, uh, I hate my boss. I hate my job. That's right. So that's pretty important information. You know, do you want to do anything with that? Right. And then a lot of times people feel trapped. And I'm not saying like you should quit your job. Right. But I'm saying, does this mean you need a raise? Do you need more money? Does this mean you need to make a lateral move within the company? Does this mean you want to be like asking your boss for more continuing education, like whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean like you should leave. It just means you want something to be different. Sometimes that fulfillment can come from work, or no, I'm going to keep trucking along in this miserable job because I'm making the choice to pay my rent, whatever. But because of that, I want to make sure that my life outside of work is actually giving me some fulfillment or creativity or flow state or whatever, social, recharge, whatever. Um, so when you get to work, then like, how does your body feel? Right? Do you, are you like already exhausted and you really haven't moved today? Are you energized and ready to go? Whatever. So I think a lot of times like the body tells us a lot about what's going on. And then your feelings are also information, right? Like feelings are not facts. Feelings don't need to be the king in the room. I find a lot of times with couples, the feeling is like the hierarchical thing. And well, I feel this way, so you have to cater to that. And it's like, well, no, it's actually for you. It's just information for you. What choice do you want to make? Like, do you want to go and sit? Do you want to go and like really try to make your job more meaningful and do a positive, whatever? Um, Food is always a good information point, an opportunity for choice. Are we craving sugar? Are we craving caffeine? Are we craving something salty and crunchy? What do those cravings actually mean? What is that desire telling you you really want? Is it, something sweet or do you want more excitement in your life, you know? And then
Okay.
whatever. I kind of went all over the place with that. What question did
Okay.
that satisfy your question or no?
So here's okay, so because I want to clarify this, okay? Because it sounds like I here's how I don't want it to be misinterpreted as. I don't want it to be misinterpreted as do what your feelings say. Um and
Mhm.
more like but it because it what I kind of hear in this is that mood follows action or
Yeah.
mood follows whatever the thing that came before it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like how did we sleep? Then we can say how did we feel and like what was the thing that made a that maybe indicated that feeling. So it's
Yeah.
using the emotions as data points and it's collecting those and maybe not acting on those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great summary. I know. I'm like a cuz I'm not really big on um I'm much more into like the body sensation of it all than the like feeling, you know?
Yes.
But yeah, I think I'm like too um I I was just talking about this in my meditation class. Like at this point in my life, and please correct me if what you know of me is different. But like I actually don't react to much.
No.
Like my reaction is really no reaction.
Mm.
My reaction is like a lack of reaction. Um rather than yeah, and then like contemplating what I want my response to be
Mhm.
rather than yelling or shutting down or like needing to drink a bunch of alcohol or like running for the croissants and sugar cookie. Like I just don't really react to a lot at this point. Um, so it's more
Respond, not
just
react.
observing. Yeah. So it's more just like observing. And ideally, I'm always trying to just be like amused and humored by everything that occurs in my life and what I observe. But, every now and then that still doesn't happen. Um, and so some people might argue that's like super emotional numbness and compartmentalization. I would argue it's like years and years of meditation and mindfulness work, but I get that I find like a lot of other therapists, especially the ones in predatory training programs, like, are always trying to make me cry and, like, don't understand. They're like, "Wow, you just really can't access your emotions." And it's like, "No, I just am, like, separated from them as an observer, which is how I enjoy moving through life, and it's kind of like a key principle of Buddhism, but okay.
If the
I
goal is
don't
to
have
make you
time to
cry.
lecture you." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah. Not information, but I think like, thinking about how you sleep, what you're eating, how you eat, how you move, does your body need movement? Um, how you feel, your overall feelings towards life. And then also you can always kind of, two silly points of information. What would 12-year-old you think about the life that you're living and the choices you're making? And then something beyond you, right? Like what I have a lot of the choices I have made have been what would 40-year-old me be happy with? What would 40-year-old me be satisfied with? Would 40-year-old me be happy that I made this choice? Yes or no? Um, and so you can also kind of look to those places as information and you don't know, but it's a good it's a good guess. Like I think 12-year-old me would well, probably not. 12-year-old me was already being inauthentic and didn't know who she was, but probably 9-year-old me would be very happy with, with what my life is and the silly ways that I spend my morning. Um, and that
Yeah. So it because like I said about leaning into the sensations, because I think that there are times where we I think are fueled or there's an over index on emotions. And in emotionally focused therapy, of course, there's an index on
yeah,
emotion. I mean, it's about deepening the emotional experience, which I think can be
yeah,
helpful. I think a lot of times it's hard to get people to get there because there's a story, there's a cognition that gets in the way or that gets
Mhm.
through, and it'll be like, "So how did your boss saying that to you make you feel?" And it's like, "Well, I feel like they're kind of like wrong, and I feel like I'm being used. And I feel like and it's like, okay,
Yes.
those aren't
Yeah.
feelings, those are stories, but we
Yeah.
can but we can also use the story as a landscape for the emotionality to eventually
Yes.
get to that. So I think that things like sensations are such an access point to how we feel. Like we know when we feel hungry, we know when we feel
Mhm.
tired, we know when we feel thirsty. Like
Mhm.
it's our sensations that lead into our interoceptive places. So it's like, okay, what is it that my body needs? And that is
Yeah.
a nice access point to make, I mean, physiologically make decisions. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because it's like, so it sounds so rudimentary and basic, but how many times do we as adults like try and override it? I mean, it's like we try and like
Yeah.
control, alt, function, override.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so many times your body is coming in to be like, don't do this thing. And your brain is like, well, I have to.
Right.
Right? Like your body is like, please don't make me go to work today. Please don't make me go to work today. And your brain is like, bitch, we got to pay rent. You know, like,
Right.
and it's not, and same thing, like I always tell, especially my men, because so many of my clients who will be like, I don't feel anything. Like, what are you talking about? I don't feel anything. Like, this doesn't work for me. Like, this is just not whatever. And I'm just like, well, you're a mammal with a nervous system. So you feel something. And so we just start the really basic shit of like, how do you know when you need to pee?
Yeah.
Like, I
Mhm.
trust that you're not peeing your pants.
Right.
So how do you know when you need to go to the bathroom? That's your body sending you information. What do you want to do with that information? Do you want to hold it because you're on a road trip and you're like an hour away and you just want to make it there? Or do you want to make a choice to go to the bathroom? Um, and then also usually sex, right? Those are body sensations that are happening that ideally are pleasurable. So you clearly know how to experience and heighten even the experience of some sensation. So you have this skill, you just gotta apply it to other areas. But you know,
Sure.
that's
It's like you have a skill, now we're leveling it up.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And like, where is it in your chest? Where is it in your heart? Where is it in your throat? And, you know, if I want to get woo woo with it, then I like it because it's always, the chakra points are usually where we are experiencing those sensations. Um, and so I think, it's nice that something was created thousands of years ago that like is clearly like a very common human experience of like somebody decided these random ass points mattered and we still for the most part feel and experience things around these points. So like
Mhm.
maybe these sensations, maybe these just to experience these sensations is to be a human,
Right.
um, which is nice.
Very. It is. So how can we use these points to make decisions in our business or in our careers even?
So I'll tell you about a mistake I made.
Okay.
Um, because of all I really don't struggle with anxiety, but the one, like, category of anxiety that I have left is, of course, financial. So, of course, having my own small business was a really dumb decision to make for someone who has financial anxiety, and 100% I am my father's daughter, and no amount of money will ever be something I'm still working on. And so, I had so much anxiety last year about like, I gotta make more money. I gotta make more money. I gotta make more money. This isn't enough. This isn't enough. This isn't enough. How am I gonna make more money? I can't see more clients during a week. Like I'm one person. I have to hire someone. Right. And it was just really mainly ego of just like, I wanted to like build a group practice and I wanted to get to this point by this amount of time. But, it was also anxiety, very much a feelings-based decision, um, not a data-driven one. And so I hired that person, and I was excited about it, and within, like, 2 months, it was really obvious that we were actually not a fit. She was not like me, she was not a hustler, she was not ambitious, she was not just was not the right fit. Um, and so I fired her. Um And I think once I fired her that I felt like super, super at peace. Um, but then like still stressed out about money and all of that stuff, but felt better. And so I think that's an example of something I did with the sensations my body was giving me that was not. I mean, it was a good learning experience, honestly. I'm kind of glad it happened, but long term kind of dumb. you know.
Mhm.
Or actually, I take it back. Long term, not that dumb because you fire fast. So once you see it's not working, get rid of this person immediately. So I'm actually glad I was able to do
Yeah.
that.
Hey, do you feel like you, because I do think that there is this, we always want to keep growing and we want to keep learning, we want to keep doing. And of course, when you own your own business, it's like, okay, what's the next thing? And then this was a way to test out what that next thing was for you.
Yeah. 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 For sure. And it was just like, okay, I actually don't want to be a boss to a Gen Z kid who's never had a job before. I need somebody who's older, who's had a boss before so they can know that I'm actually a great boss and that like what I'm offering and doing is not a typical boss environment and the pay split you're getting is not common among group practices.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was like, this person needs more wisdom before they can see and appreciate what I'm offering to and they're only going to get that wisdom through more experiences. Um, and then another point of information, I mean, two more points of information where I'm using emotion as action, right? Is this webinar, right? Like I was angry. I was pissed off, right? I was just like, how in the hell are these like predatory training programs doing this shit, getting away with it and not feeling bad about it? And like, I want to empower other therapists. I don't want to like bring them down. So, that, how again, like, okay, I'm having the emotion of anger. Like, how do I want to respond? How do I want to use it as fuel? Let's fucking go. Let's build
Right.
out a program for people that is free and accessible to help empower them and so they can make better decisions for their own business. Um, and then also, frankly, not to like announce it publicly, but I've been seeing couples for the last 4 years and it's just been some cases are lovely and beautiful and really, really rewarding. And the cases that are not, when it's good, it's really good. And when it's bad, it's horrid. And the cases that are abusive, the cases that are um, just not nice representations of what love should be, are really, really heavy. Um, and so I made the choice. I was like, yeah, I think I'm just done seeing couples. Think I'm not.
Yeah.
And again, that was also kind of a financial anxiety thing, right? Because a couple is worth more than an individual client. Or in my case, I charge more for a couple than an individual client. Um, and the second I made that choice, just my whole body relaxed.
Hmm.
And like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders and I felt so at peace. And it was just like, done. Like, this is the truth you ground down on. You're not seeing couples anymore. Um, and so I think though, I don't know, it's not a great experience of what a sensation is. Sure. But
You know
or a
what?
great description.
I hear it and I feel it because you just, yeah, it
But
encompasses
when
it.
you have that,
Yes.
when you have that, it's like, okay, I can move now. Like a monkey got off my back and I can move and I can keep climbing my mountain. Um, so I think those are all examples of information. It's great. And then, yes, I use my data and, did I run today? Did I move today? Did I get a workout in today? Um, did I get enough, yesterday I only got 51 grams of protein. So today I'm having a steak.
Yeah.
Eat, and
Right.
I wish I was kidding. I'm not. So like, that is an example of information and how I'm going to make a choice today because I didn't get enough. So now I'm going to make some incredible steak tacos after this, actually.
Mhm. Oh, that sounds amazing. Here's a question. When, because things like, I mean, we talk about finish trackers and different
Mhm.
decision points around it. And I think for a lot of people that induces anxiety, especially
Yeah.
when we're talking about how many things we can count in terms of
Yeah.
from sleep to steps to calories, how many ounces of water did you drink, how many grams of protein did you get, all the things that like, the Rosetta Stone would teach us. So if,
Mhm.
if we're thinking about what it looks like to not feel to, like, kind of like separate that
Yeah.
anxiety from our decision making process, how would you maybe go about doing?
Yeah, I totally relate to that because I remember my dad's, like, pretty fit, but he got the same fit. I was like, "Dad, we can do challenges together, it'll be great because we, like, play tennis and, stuff. He's an active guy. Um, and then he felt like such I would come down and I'd be like, "Dad, how many steps did you get today?" And he would hate it because he felt like such a failure if he only got, like, 5,000 steps that day, right? And it was like a reminder to him of like, "You're failing, you're not doing enough, you're
What
failing, you're
I
not doing
didn't
enough." And
do.
it was really distressing to him, right? Um, and so, yes, I count my steps, and I think you can still assess quantitative things from a qualitative perspective. When I went to the gym, did I put on my favorite music? Did I listen to the best podcast? Did that podcast actually make me think about something? Or for me, I'm always on the greenway with my dog, so it's like, did she, you know, have a ridiculous adventure going swimming in the river today? Um, or did we see a bald eagle? Did we see a snail? Like, especially because everything's alive now. So it's like we saw a deer and bald eagle today. Yesterday we saw like a snake on a vine that was so beautiful. So I think for me now, it's still kind of metric based, but like when I was walking, did I see any cool wildlife? And then when I see them, I'm not continuing to walk. I'm like stopping and hanging out and whatever. Or same thing now. I mean, because I like to practice what I preach to clients. So with her, I'll just like lay down in the grass and just like lay in the grass for 5 minutes. So it's not like, yes, I am walking and getting some steps in, whatever, but I'm also like getting time outside and seeing wildlife and like connecting to my own inner child and like giving my dog the quality of life that I want her to have and grounding and, or forest bathing or whatever you want to call it. Um, so I think there's a way to make the experience both quantitative and qualitatively fulfilling to you. Um, so yeah.
How can it be? It sounds like making it soulfully fulfilling, even
Yes.
though there's a quantitative maybe goal to it.
Yes. Or same thing, like I gotta go make my steak so I get my protein. But like I will definitely be in like a creative flow state as I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like pickle onions or I'm gonna like chop some cilantro, or maybe I can make like some kind of sauce, like make it make it have a fulfillment element or a creative element or some soul nourishing, soul replenishing way. Yeah.
Yes, that's beautiful. Love that. That's a very mindful and Buddhist Abio.
Sometimes I think I don't know, because we're so in the therapy world and like mindfulness, but like I say it like that as a joke because I know people still like roll their eyes at mindfulness and meditation and stuff, but like I believe it. And I do that shit all day, every day. So I was just with a friend this weekend and I like made them do a body scan with me. They were just like, what in the hell is this? Like, I have never done this before. And I'm like, really? But don't you love it? Like, isn't it so great? And they're like, I don't know, still deciding whether or not like this, And I'm like, out here like dancing with the snakes and like, not realizing that like what I'm doing is not a typical person's day. But I'm also very lucky to be my own boss. So
Right. This is true. Yeah, that you get to incorporate wellness throughout the day, which
yeah,
I hope that more people can start doing.
yeah,
The goal.
truly. I know working from home is a blessing, but
Yeah.
people gotta actually make an intentional choice to have that.
there's the pros and cons to it all.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anything that you want to leave us with?
Um, everybody go lay down in the grass. Put your phone on airplane mode. Put your phone on airplane mode. Don't freaking touch your phone. Get off your screen. Lay down in the grass. Feel the sun on your skin. That's how humans existed for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
That's our actual humanity, is to just lay around on the ground with the sun on us. So go do that. Connect to your ancestry.
Put on sunscreen. Do that.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please put on your visor. Make sure your retinol work is not being damaged.
Exactly.
And put on sunscreen. Protect yourself. Don't get wrinkled.
Thank you. And where can people find you?
You can find me on my website, which is my name, which is so annoying to spell, everettuhltherapy.com. Wool, like UHL. You can also just Google Everett Uhl and you will find me very easily.
Lovely. And your reminder one more time on when your webinar is. Is it
My webinar is 2 weeks from today, I believe, March 23rd at 12 p.m. Lunch and learn. And then I'm also I'm doing a new meditation series starting on March 30th. That'll be 10 a.m. every other Monday. And that will be from the Foundation for Compassion and Wisdom. There are 16 guidelines meditation series. I did it with my teacher and I just absolutely loved it. You pick like one topic each week. So it's like humility, patience, those kinds of things. And you kind of can think about that trait for an hour. Basically, they're like cognitive meditations. And then hopefully carry it with you for the next 2 weeks of how you want to treat yourself and others.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Where are you taking mindfulness classes, by the way?
Where you and I went, Kadampa.
Kadampa? Okay. Good to know. Great place. Very cool. Well, thank you.
Shout out Kadampa Center in Raleigh,
Yes.
North Carolina.
Kadampa. It is, yes, I highly recommend, if you have any sort of meditation center that's local to you, highly recommend checking it out. It is a very unique experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's always free. And if you go to one that asks you for money, it's predatory. Get away. Kadampa has never, I give them money because I care about them, but Kadampa has never once been like, pay your tithing, so
yeah.
Find your local meditation.
Yeah. And take Everett's course.
Yay. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Don't find your local meditation center. Join me on Zoom every other Monday at 10 a.m.
Perfect. We'll link all that in the show notes. Thank you, Everett.
Thank you, Brittany.
And until next time, everyone, stay connected.